Okay, guys, so here today we have the War Effort exclusive interview with Tristan Tate. This one has been a long time coming. We've talked about it a whole lot, but it's finally been completed. We just got done recording it, and we talk about a lot of insightful topics that I think you guys are going to enjoy.
Yes, I just want to say a special thanks to Tristan for doing this. As I'm sure you guys know, he gets bombarded with requests to go on podcasts. So again, thanks to Tristan. We got a lot out of it, and we hope you guys enjoy it.
Amazing. And make sure that you stay till the very end because we have a very, very special announcement of a next guest for the interview. You guys are not going to believe this one, so make sure you stay to the end. And yeah, we'll see you in there.
All right. So look, you've already met Dimitri. My name is Leo. Oh, we're just a bit out of frame here.
Yeah, a little bit out of frame.
Yeah, that's right.
Closer to each other.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. My name's Leo, and this is Ross. So I just want to give you a quick intro of what we're about. So we started a podcast. We decided to call ourselves the War Effort Podcast. And the reason we went with War Effort is we wanted to make a stand and resist against the emasculating agendas that are currently being purported by the Matrix, as you know. So we just wanted to play our part in correcting the course of society because we firmly believe that the current path, the direction we're headed down is extremely dangerous and destructive. And a best case can only lead to a tyrannical society. So what we're seeing among young people, especially young men, mental health illness is running rampant, where degeneracy is widespread. It's now being professed as socially acceptable behaviour, and in some cases even glorified. And another big issue we find is that there's a lack of respectable and admirable role models. And we believe that's where people like you and your brother come and play. And we've actually embarked on this journey because we hope to one day become one of these role models that can help lead and guide the future generation of youth.
That's awesome. Which country are you guys from?
Australia.
And how old are you?
Australia.
Australia.
22.
Wanna talk about
22.
tyrannical
We're
society?
22.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So you're all in your early 20s, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, all 22.
Yeah.
Oh, very good. Well, I think as young men, you're making the first important step, but perhaps you're too young to be having kids and raising kids and starting families, which is obviously the most important thing for making sure that the next society of young men isn't full of, weaklings and degenerates. But this is something that me and Andrew preach all the time, and I'm very happy to see you guys doing it. You three have obviously teamed up and aligned your mindsets and aligned your goals to, achieve something in common. You started your podcast. That's awesome. I'm glad to be here with you guys. What exactly do you want to change about society? I'm curious.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think, in my opinion, and I know everybody here agrees, there's a lot of degeneracy going around. And if we're going to get specific, it is around the sort of behaviors and the way I think social media plays a big part in this, in the way that we interact as humans with each other, the sort of ideas have changed. Myself, and I know everybody here, we're very sort of traditional in terms of our values, and we kind of want to bring that back,
Yeah, just like the honor, integrity, those kind of things. So we're talking about the romanticization of, for example, drug use. We see like the OnlyFans and all that. And even, what is else? Drugs. Yeah, we spoke about drugs.
Violence as well.
Yeah.
I mean, even this day and age, whatever song you're listening to, it's always talking about violence, and it's really just being glorified.
And you three are doing the most important thing. You have to understand that in a free market capitalist society, because I am a free market capitalist, as I'm sure you are, we're not communists. You have to understand that these ideas and the things that aren't particularly good for the world are always going to exist. So what you need to be doing, and what I would advise everyone listening, I guess, to do, is to avoid these things yourself. I mean, there are lots of people who say, "Oh, we need to ban gay pride parades, we need to ban Pornhub, we need to ban this and that." Look, drugs have been banned for 60 years, and drug use has never been higher. The way to make sure that these things don't infiltrate society is to make sure these things don't infiltrate yourself, and they don't infiltrate your own life as men yourself. I know people unironically, Republican podcasters who are relatively big, I'm not going to say any names, who will take cocaine and engage in, what we would refer to as degenerate behavior, and then they'll go online and preach. The number one way to stop these things from spreading isn't to attack them at the source, because as long as there's a demand, there's always going to be a supply. Attacking people and insulting people is never going to bring people down. You don't like gay pride parades? Don't go, and advise other people not to go, and talk to your friends about honest reasons why you shouldn't be going. Because if no one went to them, then they wouldn't exist.
Exactly.
That's right.
If everyone gave them up, the drug users, the drug dealers, and the smugglers and the cartels would all vanish as well. Well, I have a question for you. So It's not necessarily that these voices are louder. They are, but I would agree that a lot of the extreme degeneracy in the world is purported by a very few voices that are very, very loud.
Yeah.
The question I would ask is, because this has to do with censorship as well, the voices who are speaking for common sense are censored very heavily. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the people who purport crazy ideas are allowed to speak freely? And those of us, I'm banned from almost every social media platform that there is. Yeah. And what do I do?
Yeah, I think it's about...
I think it's mainly about distraction. The people in power want to distract us so we don't come together.
Yeah, it's the emasculating agendas. If you have a bunch of weak-minded people, it's a much easier crowd to control. So that's why I mentioned before. It's like, look, at best case, it's just going to be a tyrannical society. Worst case, you just use your imagination. How bad can it get?
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah.
So
the word you're looking for is hedonism. I feel like hedonism is pushed massively on young men. And my brother says this all the time, because they want everybody obsessed in a quest to find happiness. And we believe as men, it doesn't matter if you're happy or not. You should get up every day and do what you need to do. Yesterday I just got sentenced to more house arrest. The police keep coming to my house. I keep getting fucked around in court and locked down in my house. But I'm smiling every single day because I'm not searching for happiness. I'm searching to be proud of myself. Pride is what I'm looking for. And I don't mean pride in the degenerate way that it's used today. I mean pride within myself. So you have to understand that this self-interest it's self-interest that's being pushed. Young men are told, listen, all you need to care about is if you are happy at this very moment. You want to see pornographic images, you want to use drugs, you want to sleep all day, you want to, not be ambitious, not attack the matrix. That's perfectly fine as long as you're happy. Yeah. But one, it leads to sadness because these people are a lot less happy than people like me. And two, when people are obsessed with their own struggle for happiness every single day, they get distracted from the goals that they need to be setting in the world.
Yeah.
In terms of building families, building businesses, building strong networks.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to touch on was because it's we had a chat about this privately before, is that people are just getting for that like little dopamine fix.
Yeah.
They're like monkeys. So it's like, especially with the things that are blowing up, like TikTok. People are scrolling through the phone. Oh, okay, that makes me a little bit, stimulating. Next thing. It drives their like overall like average level of dopamine up. But then when they're out doing real world things, they're not getting that rush, and all of a sudden like, oh, I'm depressed.
Yeah, it's...
but they're not getting their dopamine from like real productive things. Like back a couple decades ago, what are you gonna do? You help around the house. You're working your job. You're helping people at your job. That gives you a rush. That gives you a satisfaction. That gives you purpose. So I believe we're seeing a lot of that, especially with social media, or all that, the baseline like happiness. And especially with them when they're pushing, you got to be happy, and they're just eating all this up, eating all that up.
I think purpose is missing nowadays. Yeah. That's one of the most important things that most people don't have, having a purpose in life.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a big part of that as well, I would argue, is self-accountability. I think people are lacking that a whole lot. And that's why they rely on, social media for the dopamine hit, because they don't appreciate hard work and the dopamine that you get from actually working for something, or they run to pornography instead of, getting a nice haircut, looking sharp, going to find a girl outside.
Hit the gym or something, anything. That's a basic.
Yeah, exactly. And so instead, what they're doing is they're just being proud of it, I guess. They're saying it's okay.
Yeah, it's instant gratification. And the way social media has changed is very, very shocking as well. When I was your age, long time ago, the internet was relatively new. So there was a series I remember called Intelligence Squared, intelligence with a little 2 after it. And it was hosted, ironically, by the BBC, who have now completely fallen apart.
Your best
I know,
friends.
crazy, right? And they used to host debates on world issues at the time, religious ideologies, the war in Iraq, whether or not the Catholic Church is a force for good in the world or bad in the world, whether people deserve reparations in the United States, and these debates were an hour and a half to 2.5 hours long in a very long format. And to absorb all the information and to understand the points on both sides, you had to sit down and listen. But in the same way that 30 years ago, 40 years ago, a book could entertain somebody, because you'd have to sit down for hours on end and slowly get through all the words on the page. Yeah, you're right. Today, it's a world of instant gratification, and apps like TikTok and YouTube Shorts, etc. They definitely exacerbate the problem. So if you're watching this and you've seen this on TikTok or YouTube Short or whatever, I suggest that you actually come and check out the full podcast, which I'm sure you guys are going to tell me.
100%.
Yeah, because that's the nature of the world, and the world is changing, and they want us all obsessed with instant gratification, because the truth is, anything worth doing is difficult to do, and it takes time.
Yeah, well, I was about to say that about discipline, and people don't want to work for long-term things, the small steps every day. And I believe it's a big thing about like comfort as well, especially like in like the Western world. We've got it so good. People have no idea. They're not fighting every day to, for their next meal, roof over their head, that kind of thing. So people are getting comfortable. That's where they're like, oh, I'm just gonna be happy, instead of if you're actually doing it rough, doing a hard time, then you actually have to work.
So,
that's a big thing.
So this is a question, and I might catch you young men out right now. What would you say, question to each of you, that you do in your life that is difficult right now? What do you do that's difficult? Like, I believe young men should do difficult things. Okay, what do you do that's difficult?
Yeah, well, look, I believe I don't find it difficult. Going to the gym, I'm in there 4 or 5 times a week.
Good.
I enjoy that. I just do it for fun. Where we've got, this is another business venture but me and Dimitri actually own a company together that we started as soon as we came out of high school.
2019, as soon as we turned 18, we started a construction company.
So we've done that. That's been rough.
Yep.
And we're now we're stepping into this space, which is something that, to be honest, it's something that we did not see ourselves doing at all. But we kind of believe it's, we don't really have a choice, especially seeing what happened to you guys. In our eyes, you guys did nothing wrong. You're just, in our eyes, doing what's right, what's like common sense kind of thing.
100%.
And then they're trying to shut you up. Like I put Andrew's name on Google. The first fucking article
how
that
much
was
lies there is on the internet is
was that
absolutely
BBC
disgusting.
one saying, you've been charged with rape, sex trafficking. And then I was like, what the fuck? There's pages of this, and no one speaks about any of the good you're doing. And we're like, why is that?
Let's take a risk. Let's take
do
a
it.
shot.
We built this studio. We built this studio ourselves.
Everything.
We
built
built
it
just the
in a
shed.
risk.
We did the because we're kind of in the construction industry, so we knew some people. We're like, fuck it, we can just put it together real quick. We didn't know nothing about anything, any social media stuff. Didn't know anything. We're like, fuck it, let's give it a go. We feel like we have to. No one's speaking up. And why we decided, another big reason is we believe we're relatable. So they see you guys as that big role model, that end goal. That's where you should be going towards. But what we wanted to do is, okay, so we're young. We believe we're heading in the right direction, but we want to show other people our age, because we know, even from personal experience, a lot of people are still very lost. There's no purpose. So we want to see what gets people to watch our journey. Yep. Let them know that, look, anyone can do this, just take small steps. And hopefully, for a couple of years, they see, okay, wow, look back at 2023. These guys started, they had no idea what they're doing, even just in podcasts. Yes. And then they'll see, we haven't even released any information about our businesses or anything, like our financial success, none of that. So we're just going.
See, that's very smart. Yeah. And that's very smart for 2 reasons. One, it was a very clever idea to reach out to me. You have to understand, I probably get maybe 100+ requests a day to come on podcasts.
Yeah.
So like I'll choose one per week, and it's always the biggest one. I mean, Tucker Carlson
of course.
come and talk to me. I'll say yes to that. But it's a very smart way to reach out to me. So you guys have hacked the system.
You should have seen us when you accepted.
Yeah, I was going to sleep. I saw the notification and I was like, "Is this real?"
Yeah. When you sent that video through, we were like, "What the fuck? Are we dreaming?" It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It was crazy. So again, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
No problem. I also think it's very important what you guys are doing because, as you said, me and Andrew, a lot of people look at us as the archetype of this is where I want to get in life. I mean, we're doing well besides currently being under arrest. Everything else in my life is going perfectly. But our journey isn't documented. When I was your age, if you wanted to record even a video like this, you'd have to have some sort of expensive little camcorder. Phones couldn't make videos. There's a few pictures and a few kickboxing fights and stuff like that was recorded, of course. But our whole journey is almost missing in the way that if we had started our journey in this day and age, it would all be documented.
That's what we're trying to do so people can see the progress.
Yeah. Because it's everyone, there's so many like scammers online. Anyone can make a short video and be like, yeah, you can do this, and make it all big and romanticize it all. But it's good we're able to see the small steps.
100%.
Because the scammers are very easy to spot as well because they'll talk about hard work, but there'll be no evidence in their past of any hard work. You know. They're staying next to a rented car in Dubai, saying, "Oh, if you just talk to me, I can help you get rich." It's like, yeah, but how? At least me and Andrew have a lot of receipts from our past. We have our kickboxing background and all that. At least. But it's awesome. So hopefully, by the time you guys are 34 or 30, I'm 35 next week, so I'm getting old. Hopefully, by the time you guys are my age. And everyone's like, okay, why are these guys where they are? You could show them, the first podcast you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the plan. Credibility.
Yeah. Which platform are you guys on, by the way?
Rumble.
Rumble, of course.
Yeah.
Rumble. Awesome. Good choice.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah. The other ones are no good.
Rumble's the right platform for some guys like you because if you keep saying the things that you want to say
on YouTube or anywhere, we get shut down instantly.
If one day you are going to get banned and you're back at square one. So, promoting this on Rumble is the only way forward. It's the only platform that isn't run by, I guess, what we call the Matrix. Some of the other big platforms. I mean, YouTube aside, YouTube obviously bans everyone. Fuck YouTube. But the other big platforms, I mean, they're funded by gambling and porn and, lots of these Matrix industries are pushing.
Yeah, I was on Kick the other day. It's disgusting. The top thing is gambling,
and those bathtub streams.
Bathtub streams,
there's young kids on these platforms that have access to this.
Yeah. It's all been promoted as well, which is terrible.
Yeah, now everyone, especially OnlyFans, now it's like acceptable to be, you have your bio on OnlyFans model. No one thinks twice about it. Imagine 10 years ago, that's horrifying. That's shameful. Like it's
what
crazy.
I would say is this: you have to understand, like I said about it being a free market society. I smoke cigarettes, for example, and I smoke cigars. I always tell young men that they shouldn't because they need to work super, super hard before they ever smoke any kind of tobacco products. And gambling is one of those things like that as well. Obviously, my brother's a Muslim, so he doesn't gamble anymore. But I will gamble sometimes. I'll give you some examples. I would never encourage gambling in young men, and I would never push gambling on the youth. Because I don't want fans of mine to sit in their house and lose money they can't afford. However, if I take a vacation to somewhere like Monaco and I put on my tuxedo and I arrive in my Ferrari at the Grand Casino and I spend an amount of money that I can happily afford to lose and I have fun gambling, cool, that's on me. But there's a big difference between gambling as part of a glamorous vacation and sitting on your phone spinning your money away when you're working for a set wage. So I don't push these things on the youth, and I never ever will, because I think it's very toxic. So it's good to see young men out there who listen to my message, who understand that you shouldn't be doing these things. Yeah. But so where do you want this podcast?
Sorry.
Where do you see this podcast going in 3 years' time?
What's the goal? Tell them.
To be the most famous man on the planet.
We'll come up.
No, it's the same kind of goal. It relates back to our mission statement. We just want to be. Firstly, at this stage, we're just trying to build credibility, and that's a reason why we've got you on. And we're trying to build credibility both like business wise, and then just in terms of mindset, how we see the world, our world views. To be honest, just to influence like younger people to take the right path, move in the right direction.
To be honest, one of the main motivators for me was seeing what's happening with you and your brother, because what they're doing to you, they've done it to so many people like Assange and stuff. They do this to fearmonger, show people if you go against the mainstream agenda, we will silence you, we will shame you. And I think it's right for us to stand up and show them that the same tactics they've been using for years is not working.
Yeah.
People are not scared to speak up anymore. They'll support whoever they want to support and speak up their mind. I think that's absolutely critical.
And I'm still not afraid to speak up.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
Can take my mouth and run to the hills.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the good thing with you guys, that like did a big thing after they canceled you. You guys got more famous. Yeah. They're doing all this psyop against you on mainstream media. They're saying all these lies, but everyone knows it's bullshit nowadays. They know it's all lies. You guys haven't done anything.
100%. They can't shut you down. Like especially once you start building an audience of people that really believe in you and trust you, they can't shut you down. That's why
the truth always gets out.
The truth. I feel like most people know the truth right now, and we're hoping to sort of shine the light on situations like that, because I'm sure you guys haven't been the first, and you're definitely not going to be the last of actually having to go through this. So I think the more people you have being on the same page about this message and really understanding what's happening behind the scenes, the better effect it's going to have globally or just in general for society. And that's the goal. That's really the goal in the next 3 years, building that audience up, creating a community, and speaking for those people as well that need a voice.
Yeah, and you need to keep your voice nice and loud, because it changes. The narrative changes. So Julian Assange, the Julian Assange saga started when you guys were like 10 years old, 11 years old. I remember this. You guys were very young at the time. He was coming out against the military-industrial complex and against pointless wars. He was saying, look, wars in Afghanistan, wars in Iraq, these are pointless. They're based on lies. Here's some documents. So when a long time ago, speaking about the military-industrial complex and speaking about wars would get you in trouble and get you matrix attacked, essentially. Yeah. Now, telling young men to stand up and think for themselves and to, go to the gym and have children and embrace more traditional values, that gets you attacked. Yeah. So what's it going to be in 10 years' time, I mean, even things today like saying men can't get pregnant will get you canceled on a platform like YouTube. So the insanity is spiraling further and further down towards zero, where you can't even say
it's a death spiral.
Yeah, like it's very concerning the direction it's taking. Like they're trying to take it, so we have to do something about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but to give you some advice as young men who are starting off, because we've got 5-6 minutes left. Yeah. What I'd say is, one, don't be afraid of bragging, and don't be afraid of showing your receipts. If business is going well and you buy yourself a new Ford Mustang or a nice car, don't be afraid to show off. Don't be afraid of telling people this is how I got it. This is the work that I do. If you make good progress in your fitness, don't be afraid of showing off and saying, yes, this is what I look like now, but this is the reason. It's all based on hard work. And I'd say never ever base your message on hate. Base your message on common sense.
Yeah.
So when you're young, especially when in your 20s, I mean, I'm glad that they weren't recording the things I was saying when I was 20, because I used to talk about shit. But so I'm probably glad I didn't have a podcast back then.
Yeah.
But never base your message on attacking anybody, and never base your worldview on attacking everybody. You have to understand that everybody in this world just wants to live a good life and they want to be happy, and some people are misguided. Always base everything that you do on positivity. And that's something that me and Andrew push as well. Yeah. It's crazy that because you'll get labeled as a man who hates women because you say I think that the thing that makes women happiest in the world is to have children and to have a family. This is a very normal,
same common sense.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, but it's not based on hatred at all. I mean, I love women. I love women and respect women more than men. If you were to give me a random man and a random woman. In a hypothetical situation, like one of those jigsaw death traps, and say, Tristan, the man dies or the woman dies, and I don't know either of them. Yeah. I'd choose the man to die because I think women are more precious than men, and I think that if that guy's a real man and he knows that's the choice, then he should accept that most people need to see that women are more precious than men. Yeah. So don't ever say anything that can be misconstrued as hatred.
Yeah,
because me and my brother. back when social media was different, said lots of things that have been taken out of context. You've seen the famous machete.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
My brother was asked, my brother said he sleeps with a machete next to his bed. And then he was asked, what would you do if you woke up in the middle of the night and your girlfriend was trying to kill you with the machete? Yeah. And he said, well, I'd grab her by the face and I'd wave the machete at her and say whatever. So they cut the last bit off. Yeah. And now the BBC purport the lie that if dinner isn't made on time, Andrew wants to wave a machete.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. He's talking about self-defense.
Yeah.
So be very, very careful the way you speak, and be very careful the way you word your arguments, and make sure that nothing can be taken out of context, because that's the way they're first going to get you. Yeah. If you get big enough. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, look, I think we'll just do just wrap it up then. Look, that was great. It was very insightful, and I hope just to the people watching that they enjoyed it as much as at least I did. I'm sure these guys love that.
How many live viewers do you have right now? And I know
we're not live. We're not live at the moment because we have a lot of technical difficulties trying to stream it on the computer, record it. So we're gonna make sure everything goes okay.
Yeah. And then look, go ahead.
Well, Dimitri, you're in the war room. What I would say is, do send me a link to this podcast. Sure. Okay. And I'll at least promo the main page of the podcast and tell guys to look out for you. I'll give you a shout out on Twitter to give you your first bump.
Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Well, look, I'm still waiting for my membership to be processed. As soon as that's over, I'll send you a message. And
perfect. Because that's something you have to understand about Good Network as well. And I'll talk about the war room very briefly. Yeah. In the war room, we all have each other's backs. You know, we have a culture built on trust, a culture built on mutual respect. And if somebody in the war room says, "Hey, Tristan, can you help promote this?" and I think it's garbage, I'll say no. And if someone in the war room says, "Hey, I'm doing a podcast. You know, I've just started out on Rumble. Could you maybe give me a shout out or a retweet?" Then I'll say yes, because that's the way the war room works. But there are also, besides me, there are a bunch of other good people in the war room who are up and coming, who will be happy to sit on your podcast. I know there are people with 10, 20,000 Twitter followers, and these are the guests that you can get on and talk common sense to and talk good stuff with, who will always be happy to sit down with.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Much like I was many years ago. Many years ago, I would do very small podcasts because I was a very small presence on the internet. But obviously now my time is a lot more valuable. So you're very small to me on the net.
100%. Well, look, we've only got, 30 seconds. So, look, we would love to have you again at some point down the track. Obviously,
hopefully maybe even in person one day. Tristan.
Yeah, we got cut down. There's a lot of topics that we wanted to touch on that we couldn't, like relationships, fitness, family, those kind of things that we would definitely want to get your opinion on.
Well, I'll make you guys a deal. How about this?
All good.
When you get 50,000 subscribers on Rumble, I'm going to come on your podcast free of charge for 45 minutes. 45 minutes.
Well, look, we've set a goal to hit that, so we'll be seeing you soon.
Amazing. Thank you.
See ya.
Good luck, gentlemen.
I hope you guys enjoyed this interview just as much as we enjoyed recording it. Once again, thank you, Tristan, for coming on. I know he's very busy, but honestly, it's been a pleasure talking to Tristan. But now for this special announcement, we're going to have as the next interview none other than Andrew Tate himself.
That's right, guys. You heard it right here. We're going to have Andrew Tate this following week. There's been a lot of work going on behind the scenes, so we hope you guys get as much out of it as we do. And please stay tuned. We've got quite the lineup planned and secured. We're going to have one big guest every single week. So you guys tune in for that.
Make sure to leave any questions you guys have for Andrew below, and we might just ask them in the interview. Or if you see us live on our page, that's probably going to be the best way for you to get your questions across, or any topics, any ideas you'd like for us to ask Andrew himself. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Oh my God, bro.